My name is Peggy Zortman. I'm a writer. I have been a writer most of my life. Cards, letters, stories, mostly to entertain friends and family. And now with the Writer's Block Party and the Watershed Journal, I feel like I have graduated to at least the first level.
Well, we've all been facing this COVID-19 stuff. How has it really affected what you've been doing as far as a writer?
As a writer, it makes it harder to write the kind of things that I like to do, the kind of happy things. It seems like the social media and the television is full of negative happenings between COVID-19 and the riots and the demonstrations, and it just seems odd to be writing something happy, but I'm still doing it. So it's not really affecting how often I write or what I write about, although I've written some COVID-19 things.
A lot of your stories center around Chase, a former rescue dog. Can you tell me about your stories about Chase and Chase himself?
Chase is a little shelter dog that we got, it's been about 3 years ago now. He was 2 years old at the time. Our other dog had lived here with us for 13 years. We got her as a puppy, and she was a free puppy to a good home. When she died after 13 years, and given our ages, we thought we didn't want another dog. We went almost 2 years without another dog, but then we felt we needed, something was missing in our lives, so I went shopping. Stopped at one shelter, and for whatever reason, we couldn't get a dog there. They didn't want to give us a dog, to be truthful. Didn't even ask names or anything. They just didn't want to give us a dog. So I went on the computer and did some research, found a couple of dogs that I thought were cute, and we made a trip to actually St. Mary's. And we found Chase at the St. Mary's shelter. We had filled out paperwork ahead of time online. So when we decided we wanted Chase, we had the paperwork ready to hand them. We took him for a walk, never expecting to be able to take him home. Came back and they said, okay, sign the papers, sign right here, and you can take him home. He came home with us, and he's been the very first thing he did when we got home, he slipped his collar and took off. And we went chasing him. Therefore, his name is Chase. But he's an entertainer, he's a lover. He loves people, young, old, especially kids. He loves kids. At first, he was a real troublemaker, running away. We couldn't keep him home. Now he's following the shelter tells us he is Border Collie Basset Hound. He has the markings of the Border Collie and at least some of the brain and the laziness of the Basset Hound. He also likes to hunt. But I don't know what we'd do without him now.
What kind of stuff did you write related to the COVID-19? Did you write short stories, some poems? What did you write?
Short stories mostly, one of them from the dog's point of view, one telling myself to not panic by taking him for a walk in the woods. Mostly that kind of thing with the COVID-19. I tried to write some poetry. I am not a poet, just sometimes it comes out like that. The short stories help me to cope. I think better when it's down there where I can see it in writing. Then I can sort my feelings out, my thoughts out, and put my ducks all in a row, as they say. But yeah, COVID-19 is a very scary thing. It will not go away on its own. The hardest part for me is doing nothing. Staying home and doing nothing, although we have lots to do here at home, but not being able to actually do something. The only thing I've done so far really is make some masks for some friends and family that didn't have them. At least that made me feel like I was getting something done toward helping.
You had a poem you shared at one of the recent online meetings where it says, I may be old, but I'm...
Yes, that came from, there was a prompt that we were supposed to write something about ourselves, something that we felt was negative about ourselves, but be nice about it. They gave me that back door for escape. I started out by making a list of the things I don't like about me, things that I would like to have different. Some things I can change, some things I can't. I write 2 columns every month for a motorcycle newsletter. I just finished that here not long ago.
So you're in a motorcycle gang too?
I am a motorcycle gang. Well, at least I used to be. We're not nearly as active as we used to be. Bill and I actually started the Reynoldsville chapter of Goldwing Road Riders Association. But after he had a heart attack, we couldn't ride anymore. And when you can't ride, although you're welcome to join in everything, it just isn't the same because everybody's on a motorcycle and you aren't. But they still like us. We've made friends all over the country because of that. Here's my poem. I changed the name a little bit. I changed it to But, thanks to the suggestion of a lady I feel very strongly about. She is super in many, many ways, and that's Jo. But she suggested I change it to But. Starts out, I am old, but I have experience. I'm shy, but I love people. I am fat, but I am happy. I am insecure, but I am dependable. I'm undereducated, but I am learning. I am timid, but I am curious. I am poor, but I am rich. I am all these things. I am me. So, and that started out, like I said, as a list of things I didn't like about myself, and then I found things to counteract each one. So even though I get down sometimes and wish I had done that or wish I had done this or thought about different things, I've been very fortunate.
What are you going to do with your poem?
I have submitted it to a contest. So I'll keep my fingers crossed and see what happens. They let me know by the end of August. I kind of liked it after I read it. I don't think, like I said, I don't think of myself as a poet. I think of myself more like the dog stories, the animal stories, the things like that I do. I have a couple of stories, a couple about my dog from his point of view, and I have one about my goats. What I do with those, they're one-page thing, quick read. At the bottom of the story, I have all the contact information for the Watershed Journal. And I simply say, if you're interested in this story, there are more and tell them where they can find it. At least my stories are getting out there. It's kind of a backhanded way of advertising.
Opinions on the online meetings versus your in-person meetings?
They work. They're better than nothing, but I so much like face-to-face better than social media. I am not really good with computers. It's one of those things I'm learning, but at least we can get together that way. Right now, I think it's the best thing because I'm just really nervous about getting together as a group. COVID-19 situation here in Pennsylvania, our county has gone green. Since it went green, the county I live in has gone up 4 cases, at least 4 that I can think of. It's kind of scary because I don't know who they are. I don't know where they are. Is it someone I've been in touch with? But at the same time, I understand there's some kind of an app they have out there that'll tell you if you've been near someone. I don't want that either. I'll take my chances. I don't want somebody following me and telling me what to do. And my Scottish ancestors like freedom. My motorcycle group likes freedom. I like freedom.
Have you been able to write more or write less, or has it affected the amount of your writing at all? For a while there, I was having trouble writing because I was depressed, but
I write something every day, even if it's just a paragraph. And what I have started writing, I wanted to write another case book. There is one that has been submitted to the Watershed Journal for their book thing that they're doing through Clarion University. But because everything's on hold, we won't know anything. So I decided to start a second book while we're waiting to see what happens there. This one will be a little different. The first one was a collection of the stories I had already written about Case. This one is make-believe. Some of the ones that were in the first book were very, very true, maybe embellished a little bit, but he is very entertaining. He gives me a lot of ideas to start with. This one, I picked the idea and I'm trying to think my way through what Case would do in each situation. I have a list of the chapters in the book that I want to do. I have the first 2 chapters completely written. I did a prologue on it for people who, and thanks to the stained glass writers, the suggestion was an introduction for people who had never met Case before and in the other stories. So I have the prologue done. Bill looked at my first couple of paragraphs in my list of chapters today, and he said, "You got a lot of work to do." And yeah, I expect it to be, but it's fun.
if I make one suggestion, is you don't call it a prologue, just call it chapter 1, because if you call it a prologue, half the people won't read it.
Good idea. I'm always open for comments. So yeah, that's a real good idea, because I do, but when I read a book, I read it cover to cover. So most people want to read it, and especially kids. This will be geared more toward, I'll call it young adults and anyone age 9 to 90 who likes dogs. I met Jessica Weibel 3, maybe 4 years ago now. We both were attending a writer's, it was a seminar. Gentleman was going to talk about how to write a book. And Bill told me that night, he said, it was a miserable night. He said, if you're going to do it, go and do it. See if you never know till you try. That's his favorite thing. So I went to the meeting and I parked the car, and it was in Brockway at the library. I couldn't find the door. I didn't know how to get in the library. Fortunately, Jessica happened to be parked not far from me, and she was looking for the door. We found the door together. We ended up sitting together, and I've been learning from her ever since. So yeah, life is, I don't know, if you believe in luck, if you believe in things that are supposed to be, meant to be, maybe, maybe not. I've always had a wild imagination. When other people, I'm asthmatic, and I was really bad as a child. Although I went outside and I played and I did a lot of things I probably shouldn't have done. I spent time in my bedroom with asthma, at that time they had a powder you burn, they called it Asthmador. I have no idea what it was, but it smelled horrible. So I go to my bedroom, close the door, and use this inhaler thing by myself. So I read books, I wrote books. There was a time I was going to write songs, but the poetry thing got in my way. I couldn't do the poetry, to write the song. In fact, I even submitted a poem one time. I can't remember who the publisher was. I probably still have my very first no thank you letter. My very first rejection. I was probably a junior in high school. And I wrote a poem. I remember the first few words of it. It was the stars made a carpet up in the sky with ebony background to catch your eye. That's all I remember of it, but that'll stick with me forever. But whoever the company was that I sent it to, in effect, in a very nice way, told me to continue writing, but I needed some life experience first. So they didn't bust my bubble. So I've been writing for the motorcycle magazine, our chapter newsletter I've been writing for many, many years. I also wrote for a motorcycle publication out of Pittsburgh, out of Apollo, called the Keystone Motorcycle Press. They did a wonderful job. I'd send something and they would edit and post and always made me look good. I submitted to our national magazine and even got a cover picture from them one time. So yeah, I've been very fortunate. The motorcycle group that I ride with, we ride from ice cream place to restaurant to ice cream place to restaurant. We know all the restaurants and the best places for ice cream. Most of us do have a drink now and then after the bike is parked for the night. So we're not quite the wild and rowdy bunch, although we get loud, we get noisy. We've had some real experiences. At the rally, we normally take over the whole, there's enough people there to take over the whole campground usually, or motel or hotel or wherever the headquarters is. And we include not only the people at the rally, but if there's any other guests there, they're included in the bonfires and everything else that's going on. I really do need to write some things. In fact, some of my motorcycle friends would just love to see something I wrote about the motorcycle, especially some of the characters we've met. There's the one gentleman from Mechanicsburg described himself as a black bowling ball with arms and legs. A man of color, excellent at everything he did. His main thing was he wanted to have fun. We met Sidecar Willie. Rode with a sidecar. Real nice gentleman. Lady J, she was an older lady who, when her husband died, instead of sitting in a rocking chair, as she always said, she bought a motorcycle to ride in the seat of the motorcycle, learn to ride. We've had, a friend of mine from Virginia, her and her husband were the leadership training division national leaders in that group. We always promote training. And they talked me into being their newsletter editor. I'm still good friends with her, and she would just love me to tell some of the dumb things that she did, or her husband. But yeah, I probably should get on that. My problem with writing, Ed, I have too many ideas. I have to settle down and stick with one or two, or it just goes everywhere. The one time that I really moved me, our motorcycle rally was in Virginia. We got a group of hillbillies from here in our part of the country who had never been to the city before, decided we were going to ride to the wall, the Vietnam Memorial Wall, and we were going to do it on the underground train, whatever you call them, subway. We had the most fun on that subway, but when we got to the wall, there wasn't a sound, not a sound. It was just so impressive. So when I look back at my life, I didn't think I did anything, but every once in a while something will come on TV and Bill said, been there, done that, saw that. life is short, so I guess you do what you can and do what you want to. Now my friends are talking about their kids and their grandkids, and in some cases their great grandkids. I talk about my dog and my trips and my garden and my flowers. And Bill and I were not fortunate enough to have children, but we've sure spoiled a lot of neighbors, relatives, and friends.
Okay.